The only place on Earth where you can step across the Arctic Circle and shake hands with Santa Claus, just a few miles from where the thermometer plunges to -40 degrees. But don't ever think Finland is some kingdom of eternal silence. Take a deep breath of that salty, untouched Baltic air. Listen to the snow crunching under your boots in the great taiga forests. Feel the stubborn strength of granite, more than 1 billion years old, that someone decided to carve into a city. This is where human willpower, that famous Finnish sisu, stood face to face with total wartime devastation. Where more than 50,000 rocky islands of the Baltic Sea meet the 13,700 island freshwater maze of Lake Saimaa, a lake bigger than half the state of Connecticut. In this vast, quiet grandeur, one question sneaks up on you. Do you have enough sisu of your own to stand in front of the raw, primal beauty of the planet? Every time the plane drops below the clouds and touches down inside the Arctic Circle, you feel like you're stepping into the pages of an old storybook. Lapland, covering roughly 1/3 of Finland, isn't just where the light changes. It's where the whole story begins. Lapland truly sits on top of the world, stretching north from the Arctic Circle, an area almost the size of Ohio, but with a population so thin you can hear your own heartbeat. The climate here is one of glorious extremes. Picture a winter that can drag on for months, where temperatures regularly hit -40 degrees, and sometimes keep going lower. Then the light comes back. A short summer brings the midnight sun 24 hours of daylight, with the sun just hovering on the horizon, too stubborn to set. Don't call it darkness. It's a deep, mysterious blue glow that drapes everything like someone spilled watercolor across the sky. Walk through Lapland in winter and you'll stumble onto something almost alien. The snow-laden spruce tikilumi in Finnish turn into twisted, towering giants. Silent snow monsters standing guard over a white kingdom. Moisture and brutal cold wrap every branch in thick armor of snow and ice, until the trees look like grotesque, beautiful sculptures no human could dream up. Under these skies, the reindeer rule. These semi-wild herds, not moose, reindeer, are living symbols and the economic heartbeat of the indigenous Sami people. They glide across endless taiga forests and over the bare, rounded hills the Finns call tunturi. At the same time, every lake and river freezes solid, turning into perfect sheets of ice. Locals roar across them on snowmobiles or drill a hole and sit ice fishing for hours. Survival here is equal parts skill and sheer mental grit. Let's swing the camera toward the people who refuse to leave this land or let it stay broken. Lapland's history is written in destruction and stubborn rebuilding. During the Lapland War in World War II, retreating German troops used scorched earth tactics, burning almost every house and bridge to the ground. Instead of giving up, the people here reached for sisu, that untranslatable Finnish word for relentless courage and grit when everything says quit. They rebuilt everything. And the best place to feel that story is Rovaniemi, the regional capital. Rovaniemi is the biggest city up here and the official gateway to the Arctic. Its modern architecture, much of it shaped by the legendary Alvar Aalto, feels like a quiet rebellion against the wilderness just outside town. But for most visitors, the real magic is a few miles down the road. Santa Claus Village is where the fairy tale becomes real. It's not just a tourist trap, it's the exact spot where the Arctic Circle is painted on the ground. You can literally step from the ordinary world into the mythic North. Sit there with a hot coffee, watch kids mail letters to Santa, listen to snow squeak under little boots, and suddenly the tough history and childlike wonder somehow hold hands. We've been shivering in Lapland's deep freeze long enough. Time to breathe in the salty, old-world air of the Baltic. Welcome to Helsinki, a city carved from granite and sea, where northern grandeur shakes hands with serious culture. Helsinki isn't just the capital, it's a small peninsula wrapped by the Gulf of Finland, an arm of the Baltic Sea. The whole place feels like it's gently rocking on the waves. Everything starts with the foundation. You notice it immediately. This isn't soft clay or sandstone. The city sits on ancient granite, rock that's been here for billions of years. The rugged cliffs and natural rocky shores you walk along to watch ships come in. That's the raw material of Helsinki, staring right back at you. Even downtown, with trams clanging and cafes buzzing, the salty breeze and screaming gulls remind you, this is a port city, through and through. It runs on 2 speeds at once, major working harbor and cool urban capital. What blows your mind is how directly the city connects to its archipelago. Picture this. More than 330 islands scattered just offshore, a giant natural maze waiting to be explored. In 1812, under Russian imperial rule, Helsinki replaced Turku as capital. That wasn't just paperwork, it was an urban explosion. The Tsar wanted a proper European showcase, and what we got is a jaw-dropping neoclassical masterpiece. They call Helsinki the White City of the North. Simple reason: architects used pale granite and bright paint to fight back against the weak winter light. The heart of it all is Senate Square. Stand there, and the perfect symmetry of Helsinki Cathedral just grabs you. Those soaring columns, that green copper dome, pure neoclassical perfection. Walk a couple blocks and bam! Everything flips. Uspensky Cathedral hits you out of nowhere. The biggest Orthodox cathedral in Northern Europe, an unmistakable Russian fingerprint. Red brick, golden onion domes catching the sun, dramatic contrast that feels like walking between 2 different centuries. Swing again, and Helsinki shows its younger, brainy side. This is the country's knowledge hub. You see that innovative spirit best at Udi Library, a glowing symbol of modern functional design, flooded with natural light, begging everyone to come, read, work, hang out. Finally, to grasp Helsinki's strategic soul, you have to visit Suomenlinna Sea Fortress, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's a massive fortress built across 6 islands, living proof of the power struggles that shaped this corner of the world. Try to picture the scale. Almost 4 miles of defensive walls in total, a coastal defense built over centuries and flown under 3 flags: Sweden, Russia, and finally Finland. There's so much more to say about Helsinki, this magnificent city sculpted from granite, but it's time to move on. Get ready, the next stop is every bit as unforgettable. Step into Kainuu and you suddenly find yourself on the soft, almost invisible line where the legendary Finnish lakeland fades into the icy grip of the Arctic. Geographically, this is a land of low hills and endless forest, the highest forest cover in all of Finland. Wrapping everything in cool, damp, delicious air, Kainuu feels nothing like the crowded national parks back home. There are no skyscraping peaks here, just an immense tapestry woven from the deep green of virgin boreal taiga and the crystal blue of thousands upon thousands of lakes. Population density, about 4 people per square mile. 4. The silence is so complete it becomes a physical thing you can almost touch. Early mornings, thick fog drifts across the mirror still lakes like a living creature. Mysterious, borderline, mythical. You can hear the gentle trickle of spring-fed streams. Water so cold and clear, it looks like liquid glass. Home to rare plants that grow nowhere else on Earth. Kainuu alone is bigger than a handful of smaller American states. Think Massachusetts. Yet it feels gloriously empty. And in all that wide open, quiet, wildlife absolutely thrives. This is Finland's top predator country. Out in the endless green, get ready for a possible stare down with brown bears, the true giants of the taiga. Tipping the scales at over 650 pounds. With raw power that makes your knees weak, these national symbols are living proof of untamed primal beauty. But Kainuu isn't just a wildlife refuge. It's also a battlefield frozen in time. This region was ground zero for the brutal Winter War of 1939 to 1940. When Finland faced off against the Soviet Union. Right here, a handful of Finnish soldiers armed with little more than sisu pulled off the impossible, crushing a much larger force at the Battle of Suomussalmi. Today, nature has healed the scars. The forests have grown back thicker, the lakes shine brighter, and the land feels reborn, raw, majestic, and at peace. Kainuu is an open invitation to slow way down, to let the silence sink in, and to rediscover that deep, quiet connection with the wild world we all came from. Southwest Finland is where the land simply melts into the Baltic Sea. Instead of a regular coastline, you get the Archipelago Sea, the largest natural labyrinth on the planet. Just off the old city of Turku, this waterworld stretches bigger than the entire state of Delaware, stitched together from roughly 50,000 islands and rocky skerries. Most are naked hunks of granite and slate, polished smooth by millions of years of ice and wind. Breathe in that sharp salt air mixed with wet moss, and you're smelling pure, stubborn nature. Yet life still explodes here. Much of the maze is protected inside Archipelago National Park, one of the boldest efforts anywhere to save a fragile sea ecosystem. Glide past the low, wave-washed rocks and listen to the screaming of seabirds wheeling overhead. These waters are vital breeding grounds for countless birds and safe nurseries for ringed seals and grey seals alike. It's a strange, beautiful feeling being surrounded by raw wilderness while spotting the occasional red cottage or tiny sauna on some far-off speck of rock. Pull back to the mainland and you hit Turku, not just a maritime hub, but the oldest city in Finland, born way back in the 13th century. It was once the capital, the academic, religious, and political heart of the nation, until 1812. Stroll along the Aura River, and you're walking the city's main artery of history. Swedish influence still runs deep. For centuries, Turku was the strongest cultural bridge to Sweden, which is why the city hums along happily bilingual. Turku's story is one of loss and comeback. In 1827, a massive fire nearly erased the place, and that disaster eventually pushed the capital east to Helsinki. But Turku refused to stay down. It rose again, followed a river today, and you'll pass rebuilt neoclassical and empire-style buildings. Quieter and more modest than Helsinki's grandeur, but still elegant, still proud. Two landmarks tower above the rest. Turku Castle looms right at the river mouth, a massive reminder of centuries of Swedish rule. It's not just a fortress, it's a treasure chest of stories about kings, queens, and power. Then, smack in the city center, Turku Cathedral, the most important medieval church in Finland, hits you with instant reverence the moment you step inside. These days, Turku is a lively modern culture and tech center, with fresh riverside buildings that gleam in the sun. Still, it never forgets its old role as an academic stronghold, home to the University of Turku and Åbo Academy, where knowledge has always been king. The silence of the Archipelago Sea, the salty breeze along the Aura, the deep bells of the cathedral, they all blend together, reminding you that even the smallest corners of the world can hold the biggest kind of majesty. Deep in the Finnish wilderness lies a freshwater ocean. Hidden inside the taiga, Saimaa is an emerald maze that begs you to get lost in nature's quiet breath. Start your journey in southeastern Finland, and the sheer size of Saimaa hits you like a wave. The country's biggest lake isn't just one body of water. It's a colossal, interlocking puzzle of more than 13,700 islands and countless narrow straits and hidden bays. If you flattened out its crazy shoreline, it would cover half the state of Connecticut. The contrast is breathtaking. Perfect stillness on a scale that feels almost impossible. Fire up a motorboat and glide across Saima's open reaches, heading toward the gorgeous wild areas around Linnansari and Kolovesi national parks. It feels like you're racing toward an endless blue-green horizon where the world just keeps opening wider. From those pristine waters, we swing towards Savonlinna, a town literally built among Saima's islands, proof of human tenacity and centuries of history. This region has always been a strategic frontier, the tense line between the Kingdom of Sweden and the Russian Empire. That frontline location gave birth to the city's beating heart, Olavinlinna Castle. Olavinlinna is a towering 15th century stone fortress, rising from a tiny island surrounded by moving water on every side. Late afternoon sun paints the grey walls golden, a stunning clash between hard history and soft natural beauty. This isn't a dead ruin. Every summer, the castle courtyard fills with world-famous opera voices during the Savonlinna Opera Festival. Imagine the highest notes soaring off walls, built for war, art, and heritage colliding across centuries. Savonlinna's city layout is pure magic. The town sprawls across multiple small islands, everything stitched together by bridges. Walking those bridges from neighborhood to neighborhood is the perfect way to feel the slow lakeside rhythm, fresh coffee and warm pastries mixing with cool mist off the water. You leave Saimaa carrying a deep calm. This giant freshwater sea still guards its wild secrets and the stories of an ancient stone fortress. Listen closely, and that emerald maze is still whispering. The bright chapters of our journey have drawn their first curtain. Now, as the last ribbons of the northern lights fade into the endless polar night, fresh snow begins to blanket everything in sight. This is the moment we slow down, gently pull back the veil of time, and listen for the deepest secrets buried inside Finland's frozen heart. If you listen closely enough, past the thick ice covering a silent lake, you'll hear a heartbeat that never quits. It isn't migrating birds or ordinary wind. It's the quiet echo of Sisu, Finland's unbreakable soul, its stubborn, silent strength. Look at the tiger rivers threading their way through the ice. They don't rage like summer floods, they just keep moving, patient and calm. That gentle surface hides a will of pure iron. The water knows that no matter how long the winter night, it will always find its way to the sea. That's Sisu. Quiet persistence, no drama, no complaints. Now watch the tiger pines standing tall on frozen ground. Their roots don't reach for the sky, they dig deep into cold stone. Lizards can bend the trunks, but they'll never rip the spirit out. It's a silent vow. Accept the hardship. Live with it. Outlast it. And it teaches the rest of us something simple. Real strength isn't in the knockout punch. It's in taking the hit, getting back up, and doing it again tomorrow. The soul of Finland is a perfect mirror between people and nature, like a winter lake frozen crystal clear. It can lock solid under brutal cold, yet the moment you touch it, you feel the depth, the startling purity underneath. That's honesty. That's transparency. And it's the highest way of living here. Don't fight nature. Become part of it. Sisu isn't loud victory. It's the flat refusal to be defeated. It's the soft, relentless voice inside every Finn that whispers, "He'll get it done, no matter how impossible, no matter how cold." It's the invisible fire that keeps burning beneath the ice. But long before Sisu ever had a name, there was Finnish myth. Look again at those still lakes and hushed forests we just drifted through. On this land, wrapped by a vast coastline and sharp-edged modern cities, legends were born. In the long night of the great epic, these places were battlegrounds, stages where gods forged the world itself. The greatest hero, the very soul who gave birth to this nation's culture, was Wainamoinen. He never swung a sword or flexed brute muscle. He used song, an ancient wizard, a wise old sage whose voice carried the magic of creation. When Wainamoinen sang, hills rose from flat earth. Rivers found their paths, forests thickened into green cathedrals. Listen to the wind howling across the icy northern fells. That's the deep rolling echo of Wainamoinen still telling his origin story. And those silver flashing lakes tucked between sleek city buildings, that's where he planted the first seeds of Finnish wisdom and culture. Every stubborn tiger pine carries an ancient spell. Every chunk of granite is the trophy of an epic struggle. It was the fight for the Sampo, that mythic mill of endless fortune, and it's not just an old fairy tale. It's a declaration. Finland wasn't built on gold or silver. It was forged from sheer will, from the magic of words, and from a burning hunger for freedom. That same toughness still runs in the veins of architects who design cities that simply work. It lives in the quiet discipline of public life, in the lights that never go out in creative hubs. Look up at the night sky. The blazing Milky Way isn't just light. It's the road the old epic gods once walked. All the grandeur of Finland's nature, the bottomless blue lakes, the endless taiga, is the physical echo of those ancient songs. They are Väinämöinen's eternal legacy. That's why, when Finns listen to their roots, they find Sisu, because they carry the blood of people who sang the world into being, people who built a nation with nothing but quiet grit and unbreakable resolve. As we leave behind this land of frozen lakes and billion-year-old granite, what lingers? Is Sisu just toughness? Or is it the soft, steady heartbeat of a people who once sang an entire world into existence? If travel isn't just about places, but about stories of unbreakable spirit, hit subscribe and keep walking this road with me. There's nothing better than discovering it together. Until next time, keep that quiet flame of Sisu burning in your chest.